This video is going to give you practice in determining whether something is common knowledge. Recall, a piece of information is common knowledge if everyone knows it, and everyone knows that everyone knows it, and everyone knows that everyone knows that everyone knows it, and so forth, often to infinity. In these videos, there's going to be three people: the boy, the girl, and the robot. Hopefully you can tell from the pictures who is whom. And when I say something is common knowledge, I mean common knowledge among these three people. So all the questions, when they ask if something is common knowledge, they mean, is it common knowledge among the boy, the girl, and the robot? And these three characters will be in different rooms. And on each room, there'll be a sign. So in the first room in this slide, the one on the top left, there's a sign saying W is greater than 0. So this makes W being greater than 0 common knowledge, because if you're in a room and there's a sign, you see the sign, but you also see the other people see the sign, and they see that you see the sign, and you see that they see that you see it. So we're going to assume a sign in a room where everyone's in the room and everyone knows the sign is there. That makes something common knowledge. So is it common knowledge that W is positive? Yes. The first room establishes that W is positive for everyone, and it makes it common knowledge because everyone sees it, everyone else sees it, and they see that the other people see them, and the other people know that they see them seeing them. Is it common knowledge that W equals 1? No. Now everyone knows that W is equal to 1, right? In the second room, the robot sees a sign, W is equal to 1, but the robot's alone in the room. So the robot doesn't know that anyone else knows that W equals 1. And in the third room, the boy and the girl, they see a sign that says W is equal to 1. They both know it. The boy knows the girl knows W is equal to 1, and the girl knows the boy knows that W is equal to 1. But neither the boy nor the girl know that the robot knows that W is equal to 1, so W equals 1 isn't common knowledge. There's a difference between something being common knowledge and everyone knowing something. Similarly, the robot doesn't know that the boy or girl knows that W equals 1. And if we want to go to the next level, the boy doesn't know that the robot knows that the boy knows that W is equal to 1. So for something to be common knowledge, it's not enough for you to know it. You have to know that other people know that you know it, and there's no way for the boy to know that the robot knows that the boy knows that W is equal to 1. So W equal to 1, definitely not common knowledge. Is it common knowledge that W is not equal to -2? Well, yes, the first room establishes that, because if it's common knowledge that W is greater than 0, it's common knowledge that W is not equal to -2. This slide asks, is it common knowledge that X equals 2? So in the first room, boy and the girl see a sign saying X equals 2. So the boy knows X equals 2, the girl knows X equals 2, and the boy knows that the girl knows it, and the girl knows that the boy knows it. In the second room, the boy and the robot, they're in a room where they see X equals 2. And in the final room, the girl and the robot are in a room where they see a sign saying X equals 2. But is this enough to make X equals 2 common knowledge? Why don't you pause the video and try to work this out? The answer is no. X equals 2 is not common knowledge. This is kind of weird, because all three of these individuals know that X equals 2. The boy knows that the girl knows that X equals 2, and the boy knows that the robot knows that X equals 2. So the boy knows that everyone else knows that X equals 2. Similarly, since the girl and the boy are in a room where there's a sign that says X equals 2, the girl knows the boy knows that X equals 2. And since the girl's in a room with a robot where there's a sign saying X equals 2, the girl knows that the robot knows that X equals 2. And we can do the same for the robot. The robot knows that X equals 2. The robot knows the boy knows this. And the robot knows that the girl knows this. Yet still, X equals 2 is most certainly not common knowledge. Why? If you haven't figured it out yet, please pause the video and think about it some more. X equals 2 is not common knowledge because the boy is just aware of the first two rooms. And if we just have the first two rooms, the girl doesn't know that the robot knows the value of X. The boy does not know that the girl knows that the robot knows that X equals 2, So no common knowledge. And if you haven't seen common knowledge before, this is going to confuse you. So let me talk about this a bit more. So we have 3 rooms. The boy is just aware of the existence of the first 2 rooms. He thinks there could be more rooms, but maybe not. He can't be sure. So from the point of view of the boy's brain, the only rooms he's certain of are the first 2. Now, the boy is going to try to figure out what's going on in the girl's brain. So remember, for something to be common knowledge, the boy has to know that the girl knows, that the boy knows, that the robot knows, and whatever combination you want, that x equals 2. So again, from the point of view of the boy's brain, we just have the first 2 rooms. Now, if the boy is going to try to model what's going on in the girl's brain, the boy says, what do I know is going on in the girl's brain? The boy will say, well, look, it's possible that the only thing the girl sees is the first room. So the boy's model of what the girl's thinking is going to be, well, all I'm sure of is this girl is in a room with me and sees a sign saying x equals 2. But I have no reason to think that the girl thinks that the robot thinks that x equals 2, because the boy is unaware of the existence of the third room. And that's why the girl knows that the robot knows that x equals 2, but the boy doesn't know that the girl knows that. So again, from the boy's viewpoint, can only be sure of the first 2 rooms. And if the boy thinks, well, if it's only the first 2 rooms, the girl's only aware of the first room, well, that's not enough to establish that the robot knows that x equals 2. So the boy doesn't know that the girl knows that the robot knows that x equals 2, so no common knowledge. And again, if you're confused, this is supposed to be confusing if you haven't seen the idea of common knowledge before, if you haven't thought about it a lot. In the next question, there are 5 rooms. In the first room, the boy and the girl see a sign saying y equals 3. So they both know y equals 3, and they know the other person knows it. In the second room, the boy and the robot are in a room with the sign saying y equals 3. And in the third room, the girl and the robot are in a room saying y equals 3. Now, in the fourth room, there's a sign that says the boy, the girl, and the robot know that y equals 3. So imagine, everyone trusts all the signs. So the boy, even though he's alone in the room, the sign is telling him that, hey, the girl and the robot know that y equals 3. It's also saying he knows it, but he already knew it. And in the final room, the girl and the robot are in a room, and the sign in the room says the boy, the girl, and the robot know that y equals 3. So is it common knowledge that y equals 3? Please pause this video and try to come up with the answer yourself before you hear my answer. So I've labeled the rooms to make it easier to answer this question. It is not common knowledge that y equals 3 because the boy doesn't know if the robot knows, if the girl knows that y equals 3. So what's going on? Well, clearly everyone knows that y equals 3. Everyone is in a room where there's a sign saying y equals 3. Furthermore, the boy is in a room 4, where he knows everyone knows y equals 3, and the girl and robot are in a room 5, where they're told, hey, everyone knows that y equals 3. But just because everyone knows something doesn't mean that everyone knows, and some point up into infinity, and we have common knowledge. So let's again look at this from the point of view of the boy. All the boy is aware of are rooms 1, 2, and 4. Well, the boy is trying to figure out, what does the robot believe? The boy will say, well, all I know about are rooms 1, 2, and 4. That's all I can be certain exist. And if there's only rooms 1, 2, and 4, well, all the robot would be aware of is room 2. So the boy would say, look, maybe there's other rooms besides the 3 that I see, but I can't be sure of that, and common knowledge requires certainty. So since I'm only aware of rooms 1, 2, and 4, and the only room of these 3 that the robot's involved in is room 2, all I know that the robot knows is room 2. So I don't know what the robot knows beyond room 2. And room 2 is not enough to tell the robot that the girl knows that y equals 3. So the boy doesn't know if the robot knows that the girl knows that y equals 3. So when the boy is modeling what's going on in the robot's brain, the boy can't be certain that the robot is certain that the girl knows that y equals 3. Even though the girl does know that y equals 3, and the boy knows this, and the robot knows this, again, the boy, when trying to figure out what's going on in the robot's brain, can't be sure if the robot knows that the girl knows that y equals 3. In this final exercise, we're going to use the trick of imagining that you can see into a room, but the people in that room don't know they're being watched. So the robot in room 4 can see into room 1, but the people in room 1 are unaware that they're being watched by the robot, or at least they're not certain they're being watched. Similarly, the girl in room 5, she knows what's happening in room 2. Maybe there's a one-way mirror, or maybe there's like a secret television monitor, secret monitor in room 2. So she knows what's happening in room 2, but the people in room 2 are unaware, or at least they're uncertain whether they're being watched. And finally, the boy in room 6, he can see into room 3, but the people in room 3, they're not certain if they're being watched. So basically, you can see the room above you, but the people above, they don't know that they're being monitored from below. So I'm not going to lie to you, z equals 4, definitely not common knowledge. Try to figure out why not. What's going on to make z equals 4 not common knowledge? Let's again look at this from the viewpoint of what's going on in the boy's mind. The boy is aware of 4 rooms, rooms 1, 2, 6, and 3, because he can see into 3. So the boy is aware of just these 4 rooms. So now the boy is going to try to figure out what the girl knows. What is the boy certain the girl knows? Well, if these are the only 4 rooms the boy can be certain exist, the boy would say, well, of these 4 rooms, the only ones in which the girl knows anything are rooms 1 and 3. Well, if the girl were only aware of rooms 1 and 3, the girl, when figuring out what the robot knows, would say, well, the robot, he's only, in room 3, so the girl wouldn't be aware that the robot knows that the boy knows that z equals 4. So z equals 4 is not common knowledge, in part because the boy can't be certain that the girl is certain that the robot is certain that the boy knows that z equals 4. And yes, this is very confusing. So let me go through it again. So again, we're looking at this from the point of view of the boy's brain. So what does the boy know? The boy knows of the existence of rooms 1, 2, 3, and 6. So the boy is trying to figure out what's going on in the mind of the girl. We're not right now asking what's going on in the mind of the girl. We're saying, what does the boy know is going on in the mind of the girl? And the boy would say, well, I know the girl is aware of rooms 1 and 3. So now let's say the boy is trying to figure out what the girl thinks the robot thinks. Well, the boy knows that the girl knows about rooms 1 and 3. But then the boy knows that the girl knows that the robot knows just about room 3. But room 3 is not enough to give you that the boy knows that z equals 4. So z equals 4 is not common knowledge. Thank you for listening to me today. Goodbye.